Welcome to this tutorial for a move that is used by most magicians to do a colour change, card change, or hide a card. It's known as a double lift. Let's demonstrate a couple of different variations. Remember, the double lift can be one of the easiest card moves for magicians. Let's use a demonstration of a ace and a queen. Now the idea is that you're going to turn two cards over in one go to show the audience that this card is apparently the ace when in fact it's the queen. Now there's several ways of doing this, and I'm going to go through three variations of how I perform it and how I've performed it over the years without any issue. But please have a search on YouTube, because there's more professional magicians that do this move much better than me. But in all the years of doing magic, I've never had a problem with any of these three methods. One method that you can use is by flicking the back of the cards until you get the two cards that you want. Now I've got two cards here, so all I did was to flick the back of the cards and get the two, and I can pick the whole pair of cards up, show them like this, put it down, click, pick up the top card, and it's changed. Now it's a very simple one, and it works well because you're consistent. In other words, when I flick up the back of the cards, look at the way I'm holding the card. I'm showing it by turning my palm face up. When I show the genuine top card, I pick it up in exactly the same way, but I've only got a single card, and turn that over. What would look suspicious if you do this, show the ace, put it back, and then deal off and show this in a different way. So consistency plays an important part in the double lift, sometimes referred to as the double turnover. Now let's show that again. So the audience would be at the front. You can flick the cards and you can turn the cards over this way as well. So what I do is, when I get to the two top cards, I then just push over the two cards like this. Now what I tend to do is, when I put it back down, is this little pinky here gets in the way deliberately, because when I put this down at the front, nothing is seen to the audience, but if you look at the back, I've got a nice little wedge there, a break. So it makes it easy for me to pick it up and turn it over again before I do the move of a single card. So that's one way of getting the two cards together. Flick at the back. Now a lot of magicians do this. I know professionals frown upon this, but at the end of the day, you've got to do whatever's comfortable for you. It's a double lift, so you can do whichever method you like. Now there's another method that you can use, which is to, when you're spreading cards, as you square them up, you get your little pinky in the way again to hold a break. When you square the cards up, because I've got a break here, it makes it very easy for me to turn the cards over as one card. Remember, the idea is that you're always trying to show this pair of cards as a single card. Now one thing some people are often worried about is what happens if the cards separate. Trust me, even if they separate a little bit in a live environment, now we're not talking about video here, YouTube videos, because people can watch it again and again and see the split, but in a live situation, people will not see the separation that I've got here on the cards. Of course, when you turn over the two, you're always trying to keep them square, and I tend to turn them over and just run my fingers back and forth over that part. That shows us the double lift there. So once again, if I know that coming up in a moment during a routine I need to do a double lift, then I will say you could have had any of these cards. I've now got the two cards here ready, and as I square the pack up, I've now got my finger break. Now you can actually just put your finger in the break and flip these over. Now one thing I normally do, and this is my own preference, is that when I flip them over, I don't flip them over in line with the pack, because then it makes it awkward for me to pick them both up again with confidence. So what I tend to do, just to make my life easy, got my break. As I flick the cards over, note the way I've pushed them forward here. Now that gives me a little step here. So once I've shown them the card, I can grab the front, flip that back over in line with the pack, and then deal the card down, rub that, and it's changed, and you've got a card change. So that's one method of getting the break ready for the two card turnover. Okay, now of course what professionals tend to do, and more natural looking, is that they don't hold a break. They actually have the skill and confidence to actually, with the tip of their finger, to fill two cards. Let me show you how this version works. With the cards held in the palm, this plays an important part. This bit of fat or muscle, if you prefer, here at the base of the thumb comes in handy, because when you hold the cards like this, if you just lean this over, can you see what it does with the pack? It pushes these in a step like fashion. You can see that. Okay, so there they are, nice and squared, and then as soon as I just put some pressure here, it automatically causes that to step. Now what that does is that on this corner, this front corner here, with the tip of your finger, you can almost count the cards until you get two cards. And after a while, professional magicians get the feel for the thickness of two cards, and then they turn those over and turn them over again. Once again, they come over, they can turn them over and turn it over again. And most magicians who are professionals would use that method. Now, if you've got the confidence on that, then go ahead and do that. Practice it. Just push the cards. And I always say when you're practicing this move is to actually push the cards so they're really fanned out, so they're really pushed over. Look at that step. Okay, then practice just with the tip of your finger to get the feel for two cards like that. Turn it over, and if you've got the true confidence of a pro, when you turn them over, square them up with the pack, and then you can do it again. Turn it over. Now, what I've found, not being professional, not practicing this move for months on end, I have done it sometimes if I'm feeling in that confident mood, but sometimes you might find that in haste you accidentally flip more than a double. Now, it's not a problem if the trick you're performing isn't going for this single card switch where it's got to be the double, where you're showing a particular card. If you're not worried, if this was a chosen card and you couldn't care less what card they see on top, then no problem. I can flip a whole packet over here I've got loads of cards here, as long as when I turn it over I keep it square, that they don't see their card, and I flip them all over. The beauty of that is if I do turn it into their card, people might say, oh, the 2 of hearts is there, and you say, well, no, it's not there or there, and it's not on the bottom either. So that's a bonus of that. But you're trying primarily to turn 2 cards over. Now again, when I do this variation, I still don't have the confidence to do it in alignment, so I still flip it over so that it's stepped forward a little bit, so that I can come straight over, not have to worry about feeling for 2 cards and doing that. Okay, now that's it. All 3 methods work for me. Have a play around which one works for you. It doesn't matter. It's not a major part of most routines. It's just something that you need to do sometimes to hide the top card on there. Always try and keep them lined up, always with the long edges and the short edges like this on there. But as I said, don't worry, in the real world, if you do flip them over and they separate, it's not a big deal. Just flip them over again. This happens so quick, the human eye hardly has time to keep up, so don't worry too much about that. And that is known as the double turnover, or the double lift, of lifting 2 cards as one. Now, of course, depending on the cards, when you got confidence and you've got a break under these, you can even take the cards off and show them like this. Again, keeping these fingers here, one here, one here, and the thumb almost pinching down in between these 2, so you're almost creating like a clamp like that. And I found that these 2 fingers pushed against the edges keep the cards in alignment, but also by you just putting a bit of pressure on that corner, it kind of keeps the cards as one. Remember, the audience are going to be at the front, so you never want to keep it edge on too long, because someone might spot them separating. So always kind of just use it to turn over, show them, put it back, and you're done. Okay, or you can have a break under the 2 cards, grab the middle and just turn it over and say, is that your card? No, it's not. Okay, well, what about that? Anything like that. That's the double turnover.